Hey, Charlie, I wanted to leave you some feedback on your rough draft for SA2, and sorry I'm a little bit behind with getting this back to you. As a whole, I think that this is working pretty well. I see a clear thesis statement. You're using really good description, and this description and the analysis, I think, are interwoven quite well. Uh, and the summary, I think, works pretty well at the conclusion. There's just a couple of things here and there that I think is worth talking about in more depth. So I was I was kind of on the fence about how you begin, where you say, "Before me lies a picture of the manifest destiny." But then down here, because I was kind of like, well, what are you looking at? Where did this image come from? Does it have a title, right? Where was it published? And then you tell the reader down here. I would actually start with this idea because it seems like this is the title of the image. So I think bringing that up here instead of saying before me lies, just say the palm across the continent is an image. And if you have the artist, include their name as well. A picture of manifest destiny, whose elements attempt to persuade those of lower middle class white farmers. Um, and something's wonky about this opening sentence. Read through this. Everything works really good up until adventurers. It's this idea where things get a little wonky. And I think it's because whose elements attempts to persuade these guys to do what, right? So really, I think the issue is right here. So rework this sentence in more than one way. Scrap this and bring the title and the author up sooner if you have the author, and then rework this idea. I also think it's worthwhile that you, not necessarily in the opening paragraph, but somewhere after your thesis, talk about manifest destiny. And also, I think since you bring up the idea, the specific idea of audience and race, I think that it's important to talk about those two things. So, identify what and define what manifest destiny is. And I think talk about the different positions on it. So, some people, some historians look at manifest destiny and they just report on it as the way that we initially saw it, right? It was our God granted right to expand across the United States and dominate. But other historians view that as, yeah, that is indeed what happened, excuse me, but it was very harmful for certain individuals, right? So manifest destiny is one of the things that justified the slaughter of Native Americans. It also justified the slaughter of different species of animals, and the destruction of land, as you say in the paper, as resources. So know that manifest destiny is a topic that readers are going to have different reactions to. And so one of the things that you could potentially do when you're defining manifest destiny, and because the other area of the paper that kind of feels underdeveloped is your new insights, maybe talk about, okay, so if these are the different reactions that people have to manifest destiny, does this image tap into it? If so, how? If not, should this image tap into it? Like, is it important for us to have more than one perspective on concepts from history, right? I think that this is one of those charged moments in history now, like I said, that readers are going to want to quibble with, right? So I think some indication or some indication of a definition of the term, and then also kind of expanding on that in your insights would be pretty useful. You bring up race here, but then there's really no indication of why you consider that as that to be the case. So in other words, is there zero diversity in this image, right? So you talk about children and you talk about adults, but you don't talk about race in the image. So that might be another way to kind of justify why you talk about that. So then, or why you talk about that here. And then the other thing to consider is, well, was this something that was primarily held by white farmers? Was this not was this not a viewpoint of other groups during the time period? And if that's the case, why not? Or is it just the idea that this is the perspective that is typically used when writing about history, right? There's a lot of different ways that you could explore that. So really, it feels like those two ideas are what you need to explore, and that will really help take this analysis to a deeper level. So as I said before, I think your description is good, and I think you're identifying the visual elements. Now I think it's kind of reacting to what some of the implications are currently to this moment of history, and I think that examination is worth your time, because readers will wanna hear what you have to say about that. All right, Charlie, let me know if you have any feedback, and I really look forward. Excuse me. I really look forward to seeing your final draft. Thanks.